believe in yourself, have kindness for yourself, and know that you can never make a wrong choice unless you decide to stop choosing for yourself.
All right, Christina Unrein. She is a happiness and clarity coach for leaders and high achieving business owners. She brings so much energy, and you're just going to absolutely recognize within the first 30 seconds of this episode why I was so attracted to her and why I just knew I had to bring her to you on this podcast. She's also the author of a great book called The Happiness Workbook, Rise Up Happiness Soldier. And in this episode, she shares with us why it's so important to focus on your own value and happiness as a leader, and the fact that you need to be a self leader in order for you to be a leader of others. She gives us great tips and tools in this episode. And this is what I really love about her. She really stands behind what she teaches. She practices what she preaches, which is extremely rare. So she's going to share with us the 3 guiding principles she has for herself in terms of success and happiness. And guys, I can't believe she's offering this to us, but literally this episode, within 5 days of this episode coming out, so this is September 22nd when this is going live, you have 5 days. She's offering her book for free on Amazon. So go ahead and look for that on Amazon, a Kindle version. She'll make it free for 5 days. The link will be in the show notes if you need help accessing it. And also her You to Me happiness course. It's 5 challenges high achievers face in their pursuit of happiness. It's a fabulous course. I highly recommend it. It's free for 3 days from the day, so the very end of September here, the 22nd through the 26th, I believe. So the link is in the show notes of this episode. Check it out. This is valuable content she's giving to us for free. Go ahead and download it and enjoy this episode. Join me in welcoming Christina Unrein. Hello and welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Taryn McCarthy, and we have such an exciting guest with us today. I cannot wait for you to meet Christina Unrein. I've met her recently myself and just been blown away by her energy and positivity that she brings. Please join me in welcoming Christina to the podcast today. Hello, Christina.
Hello. It's great to be here.
Oh, it's so good to have you here. And I'm so excited because we're chatting today. This is going to air a little bit later, but today is Labor Day, and we're both so excited to be sharing each other's company on this Labor Day. How has your weekend been?
I have had an awesome weekend. Got to see family, got to have some relaxation, and now I get to meet with you.
So cool. You know, one of the things I love about you is this amazingly positive attitude, and you are a clarity and happiness coach. Tell me, have you always been so positive and had such an optimistic attitude towards life, or is this something that you've had to cultivate over time?
I would say that I maybe have a tendency to be very optimistic and positive, but it's definitely something you can lose if you don't continue to nurture it. So even though I have a positive attitude and I'm looking for the good in things and how things can serve me, it's something that you do cultivate over time. And for me, it's always asking myself, what do I want out of this? What do I control out of this? How do I make this serve me in a way that I can't imagine maybe there's something positive to come from this?
Interesting. So, was there a time in your life where you had a negative lens or a negative frame in your life?
Hmm. Probably when I worked for my parents. So working with family, I would not suggest it to most people because being around people all day long, I don't want to see them after that unless they're just awesome, positive people themselves. And so when they're stressed and they're like pushing that on you and you're trying to care in a different way, that was a very hard time to be positive all the time. And at the same time, everybody loved that I came in because they noticed I brought my positive energy with me. But it was really hard to hold that together when you don't feel it around you.
Oh, absolutely. And so actually you bring up a great point is surrounding yourself with people who have the same intentions, even in terms of perspective. I'm sure that's a part of your coaching as well.
Definitely. So I typically coach people going from like good to great. I don't usually work with people that are in the dumps. I don't work with people that are sort of like in the hard throes of life. They usually have some type of self awareness, and they're at the point typically where they're having to make decisions that have served them before, and they don't serve them in the next thing that they want in life. And so it could be that they were super achievers. And now they're like, well, I have no life though. Well, if you keep making the same super achiever decisions at work, it's gonna keep giving you the same thing. And it's hard to change that because it's giving you something. And then the same thing with people. Like some people don't like to disappoint other people, and they
Mm.
like to be people pleasers. And if you please everyone, then you're definitely disappointing yourself and the people who love you. So getting them to shift that and find, hey, take the risk that there are other people that are like you and that want what you want for yourself. And if you can start attracting those people, then they're going to be attracted to what you're going to become, not what you are right now.
So, how do you help clients who have established this habit pattern of that feels very safe right now? And like you said, it's already given them a lot of success. But in order to up level, they need to take some of those uncomfortable risks. What tools and tips do you support your clients with to take those risks that they know they need to do, but it just feels very uncomfortable?
First, I find out their comfort level, right? Like, how important is this to you? Because if it's not important enough, I'm I don't treat myself as an accountability buddy. I know a lot of coaches do that. That's not me. So for me, I'm somebody who will be co-creating with you. I'm somebody that's going to help believe in the best and try to create the way that you want things to show up, not just the way it could happen because it works for somebody else. That's not going to work for you probably. And so it's really about their commitment to themselves. So when they leave, it's about, did you connect so deeply with something that you basically want to hang up on me because you want to go achieve that for yourself? And if they don't have that, then we got to look at what's stopping you from finding that for yourself, or is it too scary? And what makes it so scary that you don't want to thrive?
Wow, fascinating. Do you see a common thread with high achievers? So you said you work with clients who are going from good to great. Is there a common thread of something holding your clients back from achieving that greatness when they've already seen a lot of success?
I would say a couple of things. One thing is definitely that they've put their value in what they do. So when they have to redefine who they are and give worth to something that they've ignored their whole life, themselves, and just being and having value for being who you are. And instead, it's always been what tangible things others could appreciate in you so that you could benefit from that or grow your business or meet the people that you needed to make something happen. So that's a huge shift for them. And it's really hard to imagine you have value, not because you do something, but because you exist. And that if you can't see that in yourself, it's hard for you to imagine somebody else could see that. And then the people pleaser side is really prevalent in that you've lived to not disappoint others. What
Mm.
if you purposely choose who you disappoint? Because this whole time you're trying to choose, I can't disappoint anyone. What if you change it and it's who do you want to disappoint? Because you will disappoint someone. So what if you purposely choose that?
Hmm. Wow. That sounds a lot more empowering than feeling like a victim of the situation. So actively choosing who you're going to disappoint. Wow, that's really powerful. I love that concept. That's really cool.
Thank you. They
What
like it until they don't like it.
Yeah. Oh, it's scary. Oh, definitely. It's very scary. And, I'm speaking now from a perspective in the healthcare professions. That's what a lot of my audience members are business owners in the healthcare professions. That's who they are. They're people pleasers. So just the thought of doing something that's uncomfortable towards someone else is scary.
Mhm. Well, and
So,
it makes you have to choose yourself over and over.
yeah.
And to be comfortable with getting uncomfortable in that way is just something that they haven't practiced their muscles with just yet. And one of the things I tell my people is that a lot of them have at least gone through like an economics class. of some sort. And right now, they're trying to give everything they possibly can to every single person they possibly can. So in a sense, if you know the supply demand curve, you have so much supply that people can demand a lot and the price doesn't increase. And yet if you cut back on what you supply because it's a more valued asset of yours that you choose how to use it, then the price can increase because the supply is lower and there's going to be the same amount of demand for it. It's just hard for you to realize that there will be.
And what's really great about that analogy is when the demand increases and the price increases, so does the value.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, what are some really foundational steps that people can take if somebody's listening to this podcast and they're recognizing, I've not been placing myself as a priority and I've been putting everybody else's needs ahead of mine. And it's worked up to this point, but I really need to make the shift. What's one small action that they can take to start finding that and recognizing and feeling that value within inside of themselves?
And you sort of named it there. They have to actually start paying attention differently. So maybe they set it up where the beginning of every day, they ask themselves, what do I see my worth as? Or maybe it's as simple as going, is there anything about this situation that serves me? And just ask themselves over and over, not the fact that they have to take action on it, but the moment they start noticing in it and it becomes a pattern for them, it becomes really hard for them to ignore it anymore. And so paying attention on purpose to what's happening and how they're defining it is a really great step.
Absolutely. That awareness concept, just being simply aware, because we can't change something that we're not aware of.
Definitely.
So you mentioned that morning routine. What's your morning routine?
I like to be a little bit spontaneous or I get pretty bored. So I try to do a walk in the morning. I like being outside and it's like a different pace of life. So going for a walk is something I like to do in the morning as long as it's warm enough. Otherwise it becomes an afternoon thing. And then I also try to do, I call it yoga. It is yoga, but it's 15 minutes of yoga. Like I commit very small, and then if I want to add to it, like I'm excited about doing more than I do. But I start very small with like 15 minutes of yoga. And then if it's winter, I definitely drink a glass of hot tea or get a glass of hot chocolate because it just makes me feel all nice and warm inside. And then I also do about 15 minutes of meditation. It's more of like music though, listening to music and then putting intention behind that. So those combined in different ways, depending on what I feel like doing, I want to definitely pay attention to myself.
Yeah, it sounds like that's exactly what the intention is behind each of those actions. You mentioned meditation. So meditation has been an enormous asset in my life and one of those daily non-negotiables for me. How important is it? When you speak to people, often that's uncomfortable for somebody who hasn't done meditation before. How important and critical is it for people who want to be extra achieving incredible CEOs of their businesses and grow to that next level? How important is meditation?
I'm somebody that keeps going and you can go really fast. And that's usually how achievers do it, right? Like we're wasting time if we're not achieving every single thing we could possibly do to save the world today is the mentality. Because they have to make up for so many other people and all those things that they tell themselves. And so meditation is a way not just to slow down, but a lot of people do prayers. And prayers is asking for something or being thankful for something. But when do we take the time to listen for ourselves? And so that's what I sort of see it as like, it's not just you putting out your energy in the world, it's seeing what the world has to give back to you. And so meditation is, in my mind, very precious. I don't listen to people who speak. It actually annoys me to hear people talk. I've done coloring before for meditation. I'm a very active person, so I put the energy into something where I can disengage or like dance in just the moment. so that I can receive whatever's there instead of feeling like that I'm creating so much, because it's really just disturbing the ability for that to get through to me.
Wow, that's great. Listening. Yeah. So, what exactly does that mean to you in terms of listening? What are you listening to? What are you listening for?
A lot of times it's listening for nothing, right? That you're clear, or a lot of times I have songs in my head. So when people say they have all these thoughts going, I'm like, I got like all kinds of songs that I tap into. And sometimes you pay attention, you're like, wow, I'm just tired. And if you're tired, take a little nap there. Like if you it's paying attention on purpose to whatever it is that you need, or whatever is there for you. So if I listen, then all the things that maybe I haven't been as present with, they can show up, and I can give them an opportunity to serve me, or I can choose to overlook them.
Really cool. Really cool. So another thing that you've done, and this is so cool, Christina, is you've written a book called The Happiness Workbook, Rise Up Happiness Soldier. And I love the title in that you use the word workbook, because this really is a guide. Am I correct?
Mm, definitely. I think I got tired of everybody sort of trying to tell everybody else what happiness is. And again, I think the people I work with, they want to do life their way. They want to do success and happiness their way. Or maybe some people see it as peace or joy or contentment, whatever your word is. I'm not really attached to a word, but we want to do it your way. And so whenever you read these books about how it's done, it sometimes pigeonholes us, makes us feel like, well, I must not be doing it right. And that just like kills your great energy, because then you question yourself and get stuck in your head, and instead of like your heart and your gut where you can really be empowered. And so the book itself is about you trying to tap into that for yourself in different ways. And it's about having a little fun. Again, I think I told you I get bored very easily. And so I was meant to write it. Like, I don't like writing. The universe gave this to me as a task, and I was like, oh boy, let's execute. Because if you don't take care of what you're meant to take care of, it will come up very often in ways maybe you do not appreciate later. So I did it in a way that you could read a little bit if you want to, but it's about you figuring it out for yourself, and you can create through activities. Every chapter has 5 activities, and the activities are based on, some people visualize in their head, and they are so powerful at manifesting anything that they want by creating in their minds. I have other people that are so powerful because once they speak what they want, sometimes we hold it in, or once you journal or once you speak what you want, it starts manifesting for you. And so the activities help you to manifest for yourself. And then my husband, he's very analytical. So he's like, there's something not right about this. So he tears it all apart and then he puts it all back together his way. I'm like, oh, well, that must be something for some people. Let's give as many options as we can for people to do things their way. Because as they're going through the journey of figuring it out for themselves, I'm hoping that piece that we were talking about, that self-awareness of them paying attention a little differently, it will show up more and more for them. And I don't know what everybody's happiness is. And I don't think everybody does either. So if you can just name it for yourself and live it a little harder, then you can inspire everybody else to maybe do that for themselves.
What we need right now is to leverage happiness in the workplace. If you're a leader or manager struggling with retaining team members and frustrated with the current staffing shortage, group coaching for your team is your solution. Christina, Unrein, and I have partnered together to build a 10-week group coaching workshop for your business, focused directly on increasing happiness and positivity in the workplace. How do we do this? We use the awesome systems you already have in place and support your team members directly with tools for a mindset shift for awareness of their individual power to own their own happiness. Learn how to cultivate accountability for happiness in your team members and guide them with the tools to own their empowerment at work. Turning around workplace culture starts with individuals, and Christina and I are here for you. email me at taryn@thebizofhappiness.com if you are ready to make workplace happiness your competitive advantage. What do you think is something that robs most people from happiness?
Thinking it's a certain way. I've also heard people tell me that maybe their religion is about, I'm supposed to suffer and have joy. That's another reason I call myself a happiness coach. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not part of that. We can have as much as we can possibly have. Like, there's abundance in this life if you want to create it, see it, and be part of it. And so it's a mindset in a lot of ways that we were told things are a certain way and we didn't push past that, or we didn't question it, or we didn't look deeper instead of in our heads. A lot of us get like book smarts is sort of what our culture is about, right? Are we smart? And that's what you're taught in school. It's not about like paying attention to how you feel. It's not paying attention to your gut or what your body has to say as a reaction. And that's data too. And so overlooking those things, I think helps people to feel like happiness is unachievable and not something for them.
It's so interesting you bring up religion and this concept of suffering. I think it's also very true in the business world in terms of hard work. Like, you didn't earn it if you didn't put in the hours and the hard work. And it's really interesting. There was a magazine recently in the dental world. As you know, I'm in the dental world, and there was a dentist who was on the cover, said something to the effect of, he used to work 7 days a week, and now he's just occasionally spending a night at the office, almost like that was a badge of honor. And this is what we do in the business world. We uphold this intense, demanding work ethic as a badge of honor. And so it's similar to the religion aspect in terms of suffering. It feels like that's what you have to do, and like you're not worthy of that happiness unless you're doing the suffering or the depleting work.
I'm with you. I've heard the same thing about people being busy. They take pride in the fact that I'm busy. Right? I can't do that. I'm too busy. And really what that means is I haven't prioritized what you're looking at. It's not as important to me. Because we're all can be busy if we want, but are we being purposeful? Are we being intentional? And if you're not, then you'll be busy if you want to be. And our society likes busy, or at least our company cultures and all that. Unless you get a really good culture where they're like, no, we want you as a human, and then you happen to do work for us too, then those are rare in most cases. And instead, it's like, how much can you give me?
Absolutely. How much can you give me, and how much can you deplete of yourself?
Yep.
Yeah. So how do we start turning that around? How, if you're recognizing in yourself that, wow, I've really been prioritizing this feeling of busy, how do we start turning that around?
I would say it's still that comfort piece of people deciding that they're willing to collect data differently, that they're willing to pay attention and say, am I doing this to people please? Because busy is people pleasing too. You're trying not to disappoint the person that wants 20,000 more things from you, and they're trying not to disappoint the person above them that wants the same thing. And if we pay attention to that, we can go, I'm sort of caught in a cycle where everybody believes this. What if there's something that's different and I haven't even looked for it? If I looked for it, it was there, would I reject it? Start getting curious, because you know what you know, and yet what don't you know that you've taken off the table for yourself?
And once again, you mentioned, we're coming back full circle, those people in your life. Maybe who is supporting these positive intentions and who's depleting you, maybe without even recognizing it.
And I would say that's probably why you and I get to have the jobs that we have as coaches, is because it is extremely hard to be close to a person and not think of their value to you and to try to give them what they need. Because for you, let's imagine you're like not wanting to disappoint your parents, because they watch the grandkids or something. Then your parents are going to go, well, I don't want you to move. I don't want to miss the grandkids, right? Even if that's the best thing for you and your happiness. Because to them, they're also thinking about their happiness and what they want. So it's really hard not to be biased when you're enfolded into all of that. And so I think we get like the great pleasure of working with people so based on just what they want, just how they want it. And we don't gain or lose anything except to have great conversations where they get to, smile a little bit more and feel empowered.
So that's one way to surround yourself by those kinds of people, is to find a mentor or a coach.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you become a coach? Give us a little bit of your story as well. I'm sure this is so fascinating. How did you realize the power that you speak so eloquently to behind coaching, and the passion that you share so beautifully?
Let's see. So, I'm the one who gets bored easily and chases challenge. So I started with getting a finance degree because I'm good at it. And then I was like, I don't ever want to go back to school because I've seen all the people that try to have families or try to work and then go to school. And I'm like, that does not look like fun. So I have three guiding principles for myself, which is freedom, fun, and flexibility. And anytime I don't feel like I can have those, I'm like, hell no. And so for me, it's about I decided I was going to go get an MBA because I was like, why not? Let's just get this over with. It's obviously going to help me in my career path. I don't know what that will be. And then the MBA dean person, I got all the junk done, was getting accepted. The last thing I had to do was meet with him. And he basically told me how my value did not match with what he needed in his college because he needed people with more experience. And I was like, screw this. You do not deserve my value. So I walked across the campus to another building and I saw a job I wanted that was like, hey, there's this really fun thing about doing community planning, working with people, making long-term plans, doing this. I took it to them, I showed it, I said, I want to do this. Can you help me? And they said, yeah, we can help you. Not only can we help you, but we can give you an internship and we can give you some grants so that you can come to do your master's and you can start this semester. We'll let you do it while you're doing your undergrad and get it started. So I'm like, this is amazing, right? I come from a person that's like totally disregarding me. And I'm like, I could have done that because he would have accepted my money. But at the same time, I was like, I don't feel good about that and I don't want that. So another sign, if you pay attention, something else is available if you keep using your choice. So I joined and I got a master's in regional and community planning, sort of an urban planning type of degree. And then I went and got all kinds of different jobs and I got bored. So I had finance type jobs. I worked for my parents and did importing and product development and marketing and sales. And then I did some work with the Department of Defense doing community planning, which was lots of fun, but I got bored because they did something with a brand new mission and we replanned everything. I'm like, nothing is going to be this cool again. Like, I need something to keep me motivated and excited. And then I went and did lean process improvement on 737 airplanes in a factory. Not something like my background, but I'm with people. What do you need? How do we get you what you need? And it turned out that I decided the thing that I noticed is that I'm always going to want to change. And so why not choose things that I can take with me as I change? And in that moment, I thought, I want probably leadership, management, and coaching. And at that point, I thought of the skill set. I was like, let's go get it. Let's bag these suckers up so I'm more qualified and I can have more opportunities for myself to keep changing however I want. Showed up to a coaching conference. I was just like, oh, let's get those coaching skills. And I was surrounded by coaches. I was like, what? Coaches, professional coaching. What is this? I had no clue it existed. So I quit. I when I was done, it was a weekend conference. I was like, this is what I want to do. This is a thing. I want to do it. So I went back to my boss and said, I need to quit. Because I want to go be a coach. And they were like, please don't. What can we do to keep you? And I was like, I need some people to coach so that I can get certified and work towards this. And they're like, done. So they gave me 10 interns to coach while I was at my job. I'm not in a position that's like a coach in a normal company. They were just like, let's make that happen so she can finish her projects, make things right, help out the team. And then after about 6 or so months, I was certified and got them all caught up, handed everything off nicely. And I was like, I'm just going to start my business. And so that's sort of how coaching became what I knew of it, but I didn't know it existed. And I sort of just go with the punches and see what takes place, and then know that there'll be more decisions.
This is the one thing that I love about you, Christina, and this is why I'm just was so intrigued by you and so excited to have you on the podcast is that you really stand behind what you say. Sometimes you might meet somebody who professes what we should be doing, but you really live it. And you show that in your story. This story, I'm so glad you shared it with our audience. I know you and I talked about this story before, but what I really loved about it is you were listening to your own emotions every step of the way and paying attention, that awareness aspect, and look at how beautifully it led you to your greater purpose, which is something that so many people are looking for. So I honor you and I thank you for being that beautiful inspiration, not just in the way you coach and in the way you guide your clients, but also in the way you live your life.
Well, thank you very much. And let me tell them, it doesn't mean that there was not bumps along the road. This is
Yeah.
not like a perfect progression. If you keep paying attention, you go, oh, there's something even better for me, or oh, this is not as good as I had hoped. What's it going to do to serve me so I can make it different for myself, or what am I going to learn from it? So it's it's really that continuous listening to yourself and not giving up and thinking, oh, I made some stupid mistake. No, it's only stupid if you stop. And I encourage everybody not to stop. Keep choosing to choose.
I love it. And one other thing that you've said to me before, and I think is such a beautiful quote from you, is if you can be a self leader, you can be a leader of others. And they're right in that mindset shift of choosing to see it differently is the self leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really cool. So, what is your definition, Christina, of happiness?
For me, it's living those three values, probably
Yeah.
making sure that I'm listening to myself, my gut. Like I really am intuition oriented. Like I believe there's a greater purpose for me to be here, and this is supposed to be fun for me. This is supposed to be an experience. I don't want to know. I know a whole bunch of people are stuck in their heads and they want to get it right, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want that. How boring. Right sounds so one dimensional. Like, I don't want to get it right. I just want to get everything I can out of it. And
Mm.
when I get everything I can out of it, it should give me more freedom, more fun, more flexibility, and more ability to really encourage that in others. If I can like change one person's attitude about happiness for themselves, they can give that to 7 people. And then those people can pass it and pass it and pass it. And there's so many people that are just living so dormantly or so passively in this life. And it makes me feel like they don't get how precious what they were given. Like, I believe choice is so powerful, and not just one choice. The fact that you can continually make more choices, like choice is never off the table, and the fact that people treat it like it is just makes me go, wow, what if you just started with one? Just start and then keep going.
That's beautifully said. Beautifully said. So, before I ask you our final question today, Christina, could you please let my audience know how we can find you? I just know that so many people will have been excited by your inspiration today and will want to learn more about you. So, how can we find you?
Well, one great way to find me is LinkedIn, and I know you'll share that link with them. So
Yes.
Christina Unrein on LinkedIn. And then also you're welcome to go to my website. I would tell you I've not done much with it for a while. So if there's question marks, call, email, text, whatever. My website is possibility hyphen or dash lab.com. I'd love to see you there. And really just I like connecting with people. Call 316 772-0496. Call me if you want. I don't know if I'm the person that can help you, but I want somebody to be able to help you. So if you call and I know about it and I have anything serve you with or to share with you, it's yours.
Fabulous. And we'll definitely put all those links in the show notes of the episode. So if you're looking to find Christina, because I know your last name, Unrein, it's such a cool last name, but it's difficult to spell. So look in the show notes and definitely get in touch with Christina at thepossibilitylab.com as well. And as we're leaving here, Christina, my final question to you: if all this beautiful work that you've done were to disappear and your book, your incredible workbook, were to disappear, and you knew that for 30 seconds you had all of us listening with our headphones, what
Oh,
is one life serving motto that you can share with us in terms of finding that happiness factor?
believe in yourself, have kindness for yourself, and know that you can never make a wrong choice unless you decide to stop choosing for yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you for all that you do.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And very nice to get to interact with your audience. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for joining us today on the Business of Happiness podcast. I know that you'll get as much, that you've received as much value from this interview as I have, just in terms of connecting with Christina. And remember, when you feel good, you can do good. Bye bye.